Thank you.
Subscribing.
Car D Kaizoku.
This video is brought to you by Nengarden. To celebrate their 1-year anniversary, they're thanking fans with a huge sale. Plus, you can use code CARDKaizoku at checkout for an extra 5% off your order. This video is brought to you by Adakai TCG. Shop the latest in premium holographic textured custom One Piece cards. Designed for collectors, crafted to stand out. Use code CARDKaizoku for 15% off your next order. This video is sponsored by gumgum.gg. See Western OP11 list and Eastern OP12 list on gumgum.gg. Updated daily. Be the first to see decks for new leaders as they emerge. With over 1,000 deck lists per set, gumgum.gg has all the top strategies as soon as they drop. This video is sponsored by Card Market, Europe's largest online marketplace for trading card games. Alright, welcome to the top 10 ranking for week 2 of OP12 data. So this is taking a look at sim data. This is all private games played on the West now that the sim has switched over to using the Western region for OP12 matches. I think there was like a slight delay where after the ban list was announced, everyone was just playing on unlimited to utilize the ban list for OP12. But yeah, now it's officially on the Western side. So I'm just pulling data that is from the Western queue in the sim. And yeah, private games, meaning that these are games that were played via private lobbies, majority of them making up the ranked games. So while I am not affiliated with the ranked people, this is my closest approximation to what ranked stats would be. So yeah, for the last week of games here, this is the top 10. This is how it breaks down, how it shakes up. Now, I do expect this to change in probably like a day or two because I think some treasure cups just happened in OP12. Some interesting leaders did top in those tournaments. I'm sure people are just going to net deck that and it's going to be represented more on the ladder. But for now, I think this is like pre-treasure cup influence here. Bonnie is at number 1, Blue Purple Luffy at number 2, Rayleigh at number 3, Green Purple at 4th, Zoro at 5th, Shanks at 6th, a really high ranking for Shanks. Shanks gained the most from Blue Purple Luffy getting knocked down a peg, but also Blue Purple Luffy is still second. Enel at 7th, Teach at 8th. Teach also got a slight boost here. Nami at 9th, cracking the top 10 for once in a very long time. And then keeping the guard in the top 10 is again Kuzan. Kuzan here is keeping every other deck out of top 10 at the moment. But yeah, let's just look a little bit more ahead past the top 10. So Yellow Kid at 11th, he was a top 10 deck but pushed out for this week. Kalgara right after that, followed by Koala, so 3 yellow decks in a row. Then Blue Purple Sanji, followed by Lucci, the only kind of removal deck. Oh, I guess Teach counts, but I would say Lucci is like the pure removal deck that is still hanging on by a thread at 15th place here. Followed by Red Green Smoker, followed by Sakazuki. So Sakazuki like made a splash. Not really a splash, more like a pitter petter into the meta. He was like in the 20s or 30s last week, but people have started to figure somewhat of a package. It's like formulating, right? It's not quite there yet since Sakazuki is still in the 17th kind of range, but it's higher than some pretty popular leaders. Right? It's higher than Purple Black Luffy, higher than Yamato, higher than Purple Luffy. But yeah, I do expect like Yamato might go up because there was a second place Yamato at one of the European events. I think Sakazuki got like top 8 at another event in Chile. I'll do like a tournament breakdown maybe this week too, just because I'm interested in seeing like every region had different top cuts. So that was a crazy thing about this first OP12 tournament post ban list. But yeah, I think the other ones had the normal stuff, like had Rayleigh, had Bonnie, had Zoro. But yeah, so that is the top 10 for sim data at least. So let's take a look at some of these leaders individually. So we've taken a look at Bonnie and Blue Purple Luffy and Rayleigh ad nauseum. So let's take a look at some leaders that we skipped. Let's skip Green Purple Luffy because it seems that you guys really like it when I skip this leader. So that's gonna be the first one I skip. And then Blue Kuzan. That's a very, very skippable leader. So let's skip that one. And then Blue Purple Sanji, very, very insanely skippable. The most skippable leader, so we'll skip that one as well. And then let's add on Nami and Kalgara and how about Koala? We'll look at those leaders this week. Okay, so first up, this very, very skippable, unmarketable tomato is Green Purple Luffy with a going first win rate of 48.83 and the second win rate of 56.3 for the past week of private Western games. So giving him a raw win rate of 52.8, weighted to 50.9. Just because his play rate isn't as high as some of the other leaders, but it's like respectable amount of play rate. I think it's about like half of the Bonnie. So looking at his matchup spreads below, We see he completely demolishes decks like Sanji, Teach, Koala, Gear 5 Luffy, Kuzan. Actually loses to Piss Kid going first, but second, you have a very commanding 74% win rate of this 205 game sample set, which is not insignificant. It looks like, yeah, just 3 yellow decks in a row he's good against if he's going second. Has a weakness to Sakazuki, but overall, 54% win rate against them. So what does he falter against? Rayleigh, namely, the being his weakest matchup here, 39% win rate against him, followed by Lucci. Interestingly enough, Sakazuki has a hard time getting rid of his bodies, but Lucci can do it just fine. It could just be due to like people not figuring out a package for Sakazuki again, and also loses to Nami. This is really surprising. This might be some new developments with Nami, so we'll have to see that. I ought to make like an updated version of my Nami deck breakdown too. I've been meaning to do it. We're not really a deck update, but like a second version of it, since this deck can be run in so many ways. I guess I'll talk about it once I get to Nami, because that's going to be coming up. So yeah, I'll save it for later. But yeah, loses to red decks, Shanks and Red Green Smoker if you're going first by a large margin. If you're going second, you barely squeak out a 50-50 win rate. Loses to Zoro and Bonnie on average. So that's how his kind of meta performance shakes up, right? We see the most popular leaders being Bonnie and Zoro and Rayleigh. So this is why he's kind of not having too hot of a time at the moment. This deck just runs so many bricks too, so you can just like get screwed over by your own bad luck too, right? That just happens. If you're playing 8 to 9 games in a tournament, you're not going to get perfect draws each game. You're going to get bricked at least once or twice in some of those games, so it's going to be kind of a risky deck, I would say, but very high skill ceiling deck, I would say. Let's take a look at some deck lists for this guy for the week. What are you guys developing for this past week? So we'll take a look at, here, the 4 categories you see on screen: top overall, most piloted, most played, with hidden gem. I would say they're self-descriptive, but let me just go over them real quick. So top overall takes into account the number of games played with this list, with the win rate followed by the pilots. So it does take into account how many people are actually onto the deck, right? The top overall meaning this is like a popular but well functioning deck. Most piloted just takes a look at the number of pilots. So in this case, it's the same deck list. 32 people have played this deck in the last week. Most played just looks at the number of games, and which is also the same deck list. And then hidden gem doesn't care about the number of pilots. So this could be like your rogue unique list that does really well, and it looks like this guy, one guy here, has a 92% win rate over 13 games with this deck. Let's take a look at it. Why not? Look at both of them. Okay, so the first one, the best overall deck list. Yeah, I'll show the prices too for you guys. Very nice. Oh, by the way, the shopping cart links on my deck builder, everything in this video is made by me, by the way. I created literally every single thing. I coded it. Yeah, shopping cart links. If you click the show prices button here, it will take you to the cheapest version of each card on TCG Player. And for your convenience, you can just click the mass entry button here. They'll just copy the entire deck to your clipboard. You can paste it in their mass entry form. It adds the entire deck to your cart. Then you optimize it with their tool to make it ship from the least amount of shippers. So yeah, that's just a way to conveniently buy these decks if you want to just have that. Also, all of these ways to purchase go through my affiliate link too. So if you wanted like a passive way to support me, this would be like a really easy way to do it, and I would appreciate it. So anything new? So I do see Judgment of Hell. This is new. This is it screams Green Zoro tech to me. Minus 3k for both of his swings seems like a really good no-brainer, and it also like negates like Tashigi, Cavendish. Both of those guys become under 5k after this. You're a 6k base too using the Green Purple Leafy's leader ability. So yeah, really interesting adaptation. Luna too. I think Luna is also great into Zoro and Rayleigh. What is this? Brochette Blow. So 3 Dawn on main. If the number of Dawn cards on your field is equal to or less than the number of Dawn cards on your opponent's field, you draw 1 card. And then give minus 3000 power. Okay, so it's like Tempest Kick, but for power. But it costs 3 Dawn. But people used to run Gamma Knife in this deck before anyway. So this is just kind of smaller Gamma Knife, but it replaces itself. But it costs more. But you do get a lot of Dawn active after you use your leader ability. So yeah, it makes perfect sense why this card is run as a one-off as tech. And it's searchable too. So that's really spicy. Everything else seems pretty standard. Only 2 Frankies, so they're going down on the Frankies. This used to be like a 4 of in favor of some of these tech choices here. And then the Robin blocker to help you find some of these tech choices. But yeah, as we can see, 32 bricks in this deck. As we mentioned before, you can just sometimes get unlucky. It happens. Okay, let's take a look at the hidden gem, the spicy deck list. So this one runs the Gamma Knife instead of the Brochette Blow. Also runs a Rashomon. So Rashomon for 3 Dawn, it KOs like 2 4Ks or less. So this is also like anti-Rayleigh tech. Runs Thunder Bagua as a 3 of. That's really defensive. So this particular list revolves around like defending yourself in the late game, leaving a bunch of Dawn up after you use your leader ability, which is yeah another way to play this deck. And then that's about all the differences I could see. Let's See back to back, side to side. Anything interesting, different between the two? No, that's about it. So yeah, those are your green purple Luffy lists for this week that I'm gonna skip right now. So moving on to the next leader here. Okay, very skippable blue Kuzan has a first win rate of 44, second of 52, giving him a raw win rate of 48.86. But despite that, he still is a top 10 leader here. Higher play rate than the green purple Luffy even. So his matchups are as follows: good into Smoker, good into Enel, Sakazuki, Sanji, Nami, Zoro, but completely loses to the new version of blue purple Luffy and also green purple Luffy and Lucci. Lucci still demolishes this guy. Bonnie as well, and Bonnie is the most popular leader at the moment, so that's not a good weakness to have. And kind of has unfavorable matchups into Shanks, Rayleigh, Kalgara, Koala, and Kid if you're going first, but if you're going second, which is your super strong curve, you're actually not doing too bad, and then just loses overall into Gear 5 Luffy. Interesting matchup spread. Yeah, if you're confident in your dice rolls, it seems like overall you're not doing too bad, right? If you're able to get second in all your games, on average you're doing pretty well into a lot of the meta. It's just not into Bonnie or Snake Man Luffy. So yeah, you have that going for you. Let's take a look at some deck lists for Kuzan. Okay, let's just take a look at the top overall for this guy. So $57 deck, insanely cheap. I doubt there's anything different from what we've seen before. Okay, Aromaki's in my deck breakdown video, I considered it a tech card. It is now mandatory, I guess. A lot of people are running Aromaki's from the looks of it. It's a nice blocker. It bottom decks a 2k, 2 cost, which there's a lot of in the current meta. Also runs Jozu as a 3. Oh yeah, I see a lot of people run 4 Borsa now. This was also a tech option in my deck breakdown, but it looks like people are sliding it in. Yeah, it's a really sticky blocker and it helps keep you a little bit more defensive too. Let's see, anything else spicy? Not really. 3 Gravity Blades. I think I run it as a 2-2, but it looks like you want just 1 more. As it stands, only 3 Sengoku to make room for the Borsas. What else did they cut for the Borsa? 1 Sokka for the Borsa. I guess 1 Jozu. I probably ran 4 Jozu as well. But yeah, that's Blue Kuzan. It's a really simple deck and not too shabby at all either. As you can see, it's performing really well. Up next is Blue Purple Sanji. So going first 45.58, going second 46, giving him a raw win rate of 45.86. His matchups are as follows. So actually really good into Sakazuki, 84% win rate into him. I guess the Sanjis are unable to be removed, so that kind of throws Sakazuki's game plan out the window. That's all he is really known for, removing stuff. Likewise, Teach and Lucci cannot kill his Sanjis, so they just scale infinitely. Koala also loses to Sanji. So does Shanks. That's interesting. I wonder why this is, but I don't know enough about Blue Purple Sanji to know why this is a good matchup for him. Also good into Enel, good into Nami, but completely dies to Kalgara. What the heck? This is such an unexpected advantage and unexpected disadvantage with the Sakazuki and Kalgara here. But yeah, also dies extremely heavily to Zoro and Bonnie and Green Purple Luffy. These are very popular decks, so just having a weak matchup to them means that there's just no hope for this leader in this current meta. Despite some of the few unique good matchups he has, right? He's just weak to a majority of the rest of the meta. So let's take a look at his deck list though. Okay, the top overall is this one here. So let's take a look at it. Okay, it's running the beer Luffy. What the heck? Rum Luffy? Interesting. And then what else is interesting in this deck? Carney is not that interesting. Or not that out of the realm of possibility, right? It's a tech option for the deck. It's designed for this leader. 1 Sora. What does this do? It's from OP12. Oh, it's just a 2k counter, right? Then, what else? Oh, Snake Dance. Bounce a character to hand. What does this bounce back to hand? Kayas? You play a bunch of Kayas to fill your discard with events and then bounce it back to your hand. It's like a Nami deck. What else? Okay, so 2 Red Rocks and 2 3000 Worlds. No Gravity Blades at all. 1 Brochette Blow. You need the Biff Burst. You need the Jet Culverins. It's not running the when you're at sea you fight pirates searcher for Straw Hats. You're only running the Crush the Sweating and then the purple Luffy's the man who will be the pirate king. Okay, yeah, some slight changes from my deck breakdown, but the core identity of the deck is still there. It's also an insanely cheap deck, $32, even cheaper than the Kuzan deck. Up next is Nami. So Nami doing pretty well now, right? It's a made its way into the top 10, has a going first win rate on average of 49.85, second of 51, and then raw win rate of 50.38, which is, yeah, pretty decent, right? It's 50%. Good into Sakazuki, good into Rayleigh, good into Lucci, good into Green Purple Luffy, good into Smoker and Enel. Completely dies to 8-cost Kid. Or not 8-cost Kid, Piss Kid, thanks to 8-cost Kid, right? Because you can just make Nami lose life. Also loses to Koala, because I guess Nami depends on just playing a bunch of big drops in the late game, and then you're unable to preserve your life if Koala makes you take a life every time you play a big drop. Also loses to Bonnie just because you're not like a flood deck. Loses to Snake Man Luffy 2 and Nika Luffy and Zoro. But is a top 10 leader now just because of the Rayleigh and Green Purple Luffy and Enel. And I guess Shanks, the good matchups into those three decks. And Enel too. Is that worth it? Well, let's take a look at what Nami lists are running. Okay, look at this one here. Yeah, this list is something I'm probably going to change my list into, right? Because I think in my Nami video, I ran a 9-cost Sanji package just because it's a nice gimmick that I want to try out, right? I felt like it was thematic for the deck, especially since you're running Teach and he can rearrange the top card of your deck. But yeah, that depends on you high rolling. When you high roll, it feels great, which is the theme of the deck that I ran. But I think this one's more consistent. It's more like generically good into everything. And yeah, the thing you want to do is just generate value early on, right? You're going to play out Nojigos to bounce cards back to your opponent's hand. You're going to Hiyori to set up your Kiku Nojos into your life, and that'll help you draw an extra card from your leader ability. Zeus to get rid of stuff. Develop Teachers to put down on your leader so you can use your leader ability for free every turn while maxing out on Dawn. Pudding to disrupt after you're bouncing characters back to your opponent's hand, make them shuffle it back into their deck. I don't know what the one Weevil is for. I guess it's a search target for Sengoku. What else does Sengoku search in this deck? So it searches the blocker, Law, it searches the Teach, it searches this one Weevil. And I guess that's enough targets for it? Oh, it searches the Boa too, right? This Boa is an inclusion. This is a pretty interesting tech, right? This can prevent a Cavendish from giving your opponent 2 Dawn. That's a way to use it. And then yeah, 4 Kumas of course, 2 Jozu, 4 8-cost kids. Oh yeah, Slave Arrow is a very nice tech card into Zoro. The way Zoro's leader ability works is that if he completes combat with the character, then he can untap. If you Slave Arrow a character back to your hand, that not only does it stop that 8k, but it also means that your opponent never actually went into combat, so the Zoro cannot untap after you Slave Arrow something. And it's also a 4k counter too, and you're running a lot of cards that you do want to bounce back to your hand anyway, like Sengoku, like Nojiko, like the Hiyori that you play early on, and then 2 red rocks for removal. Yeah, I might switch to something like this. I don't know if I'm gonna run like the Weevils or the Sengokus. I might run something else instead of that, but yeah, I think this is a much more generically good list, right? And it's not dependent on you high rolling your Sanjis into 8-cost Snake Man Luffy, as great as that feels, right? That's kind of what Blue Purple Luffy's doing now. So I just wanted to wanted to do a little early, right? I'm playing the post-ban Blue Purple Luffy list in a Blue Yellow Nami packet. But yeah, the fact that she has access to yellow, you should utilize stuff like Kiku Nojo and the Kuma. This Kuma mix is that kind of expensive, right? This Kuma mix up $156 of the $220 cost. So the rest of the deck is 60 bucks. But yeah, that's Blue Yellow Nami for the week. Week as in W-E-E-K, not weak as in like opposite of strong. Editor, fix that. Okay, so Kalgara up next. First win rate of 49.23, second win rate of 52.8, raw win rate of 51.12. That's pretty good, right? Above 50. What is he good into though? Good into Koala, Sanji, Teach, Snake Man Luffy, Piss Kid, Sakazuki, Enel, and Lucci. But dies to Bonnie, everything kind of dies to Bonnie, doesn't it? And dies to Rayleigh too. That's not a good weakness to have. These are like literally like the 2 most popular decks. Also dies to Zoro, the 3 most popular decks. And then loses to Shanks too. That must be annoying. But yeah, very simple deck. It's probably a really cheap deck. So let's take a look at some deck lists. Right, it's a swarm deck. That's what you do. $127. Oh, it's because the Kumas. That's why. If you remove the Kumas, it's like 10 bucks, right? If you remove 117 from 127. But yeah, anything spicy here? Nah, this looks pretty much the same list that I'm running in my deck breakdown video. Yeah, I think it might actually be. Do I run only 3 of the vanillas? Maybe I do like 2 Kuma and 4 vanilla, but yeah, this is pretty much Kalgara in a nutshell. Right, so your leader ability plays out an extra character based on the number of Dawn you have. But you do have to take a life. But yeah, all these characters synergize with each other. Right, this was an addition from OP12 that actually helps you consistently heal with your Nolan a bit more. You have 4 extra Kalgara targets to use to heal with this guy. He also draws you a card too. So this is a really great addition to the deck. He just gets micro buffs every every set. This isn't TFT. I wish it was though. Okay, so next leader. We'll close it off with Koala in this video. So going first win rate of 39.4. You don't want to go first. Second win rate of 54.2. So yeah, you have an above win rate going second. So it's a kind of dice roll kind of deck, kind of like the blue Kuzan. Raw win rate of 48.32. So good into Enel, right? Because you're making them just lose a life. Oh, how does that work? So if you heal with like the Ace or an Enel, so Ace is on play, so that one's gonna matter. So they play Ace, they heal a life, and then they lose that life. Enel, since he's when attacking, I think, yeah, if you're already at 0, that doesn't affect you, and then you play Enel, and then you can heal. So that gets around Koala. I think that's how that interaction works. But yeah, everything else like Yamato that heals you, you just lose a life after. That's funny. Also loses, beats Lucci, just because all your characters get +4 costs or +3 costs to become 8 costs, so it's hard to remove. And then it punishes Lucci playing Rebecca. Same with the Sakazuki. Yeah, these two decks can't run Rebecca without losing life when they play that card. Beats Nami, beats Snake Man Luffy, because Snake Man Luffy revolves around the 9 cost Sanji, so that makes sense. But what does it lose to? Kalgara cannot survive the aggro. You're a 4-life leader. Annoying thing about Koala's leader ability and my pet peeve is that you only draw card. So what it does is if you have 2 8 costs on board and you attack, you draw a card. But it's only when you attack a leader, and that's the most annoying part. Why can't it work when Koala attacks a character? I don't know why it has to be leader only. I think if it could draw you a card on a character attack, I think this would be a much better leader. But yeah, also Dicey Red Green Smoker, Green Purple Luffy, Bonnie, Zoro, and Rayleigh. So let's take a look at what Koala decks are running. I doubt it's too different, right? Because most of her package is just from OP12 itself. Okay, so Koala deck 187 because of the Kumas. The rest of the deck after that's like $20, $30 if I know how to add. So runs Karasu blocker. What else? So hack is your best early game play, going second. Runs the Baby 5 for 2k counter, just to draw you cards when you trigger it. Ooh, runs the Nami to pop a 5-drop. Are there enough trigger cards to run this? So you have Karasu, Kuma, and Baby 5. The thing is though, you're having to chuck your 2k counters to use your Namis. So it's kind of dangerous, right? I guess you can chuck another Nami with it, but... Oh, your events count too. So you have the search event. Waxing Fist as a 2 of. I like running this as a 4 of, but yeah, I guess to make room for the Black Vortex. This is anti-Zoro tech. So instead of countering, you're giving minus power for something for the whole turn. So if you give minus 4,000 power to the Zoro leader, his second swing still retains that minus 4k buff. So I guess that's why Waxing Fist is only as a 2 of. Otherwise, I think this card is a mandatory 4 of in any Rev Army deck that is black. And then Sabo. Sabo as an option. Which one does this one? What does it do again? On play, you can add a Rev Army type card from your hand to the top of your life cards face up. Then if you have 2 more life cards, you add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life cards to your hand. Okay, so in the late game, if you're at 1 life, you can heal. Other than that, you cycle a card from your life to your hand. Yeah, late game heal is not bad because you have heal from Sabo, you have heal from Kuma. You can't play Dragon into Sabo though, right? It plays a 6 drop out. So this would be hard casted, and then you'd leave Dawn up for Waxing Fist and the Black Vortex. And I guess it's a trigger card to discard with the Nami to pop a 5-drop. And then only 2 Robins. Okay. Yeah, some nice interesting tech here. The Nami and the Sabos and the Black Vortex. Might have to try those out myself, see how it helps with the meta. And we made it. Okay, so that's every leader we wanted to look at this week. If I didn't go over the leader you wanted to look at, let me know in the comments below and I'll go over it next week. Maybe, if I feel like it. Or I'll just skip it again. You know, if I just miss a leader for 1 extra week, everyone's like, why don't you care about this deck anymore? It's because this video is going to be like god dang hour long if I go over every leader you guys want to look at. So just every week I have different interests. If that leader piques my interest for the week, I'll take a look at it. But yeah, that's going to be your top 10 for the week. By the way, this is my website, cardkaizoku.com. Again, I coded everything. This is all data that I aggregated myself. I actually put code into the sim to get this all available, right? It took a lot more effort than you guys would expect. And just wanted a way to provide these stats for you guys just to, I don't know, make the game more competitive, make it more like substantial, right? This isn't just a card game. There's like these kind of stats for this game too. Take it seriously, Bandai. We're a game to be reckoned with, right? Okay, but yeah, that's gonna be it for this week. Let me know what you guys thought of the video. Any feedback would be appreciated. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. Check out my other videos, and I guess catch you guys next week if you're interested in some more leader rankings. Okay, bye.
Card Kaizoku.